Going on, everybody? We are at Column Conscious. I'm the host, Doniven Hill Bush, and I am here with the Aerospace. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm all right. I lied. I'm irritated as hell, but we gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
Tired of the empire, but we here.
Yep. Breaking news from the Empire too. So we can get started with that question. Just last night, U.S. imperialism exposes itself once again. We not only have bombed Venezuela, but we have also took the leader and his wife, and now
No, kidnapped and trafficked.
Thank you.
The leader.
Yes, kidnapped and trafficked the leader of Venezuela, his wife, and now we're all of a sudden going to be running Venezuelan oil. It's the same script, different story. They're running it back again. This is the Empire just remaking it with new faces.
Back to the Future 1, 2, 3. Rush Hour 1, 2, 3. MIB 1, 2, 3. All right.
It's the time. They said it's 3 days in the year. We got to go back to this. All right. We said we had a couple days. You got the partying in. Now it's time for the Empire to run as usual.
Nah, they cut. I don't know if you saw, but at the end of last year, they had cut child care funding across the U.S. They did that because they were claiming that some of the Somali daycares in Minnesota were running fraudulent businesses and were using government money for. Hold on, this is coming from our government. They're using the money for fraud. So now you cut childcare across the entirety of the country
because of one group that
isn't doing what you were saying they were doing at all. Actually,
they're making the excuse to just run business as usual, and they know that a lot of folks will eat it up.
And I'll go out and say, even if they were, we live in a system where we can't survive. So us scamming isn't scamming. It's taking what is consistently stolen on the basis of our labor to feed people that literally are bombing children to hoard wealth. What are we talking about?
It's like what Dead Prez says. You got to pimp the system. That's all it is.
Sorry if a nigga steal a Twix bar.
Right. Shoot, especially now you want to increase a Twix bar from $1 to $4. $4.
And then you're using that money to bomb kids. Bro, please. I think that the thing that gets me the most is that we'll be in a whole space where, for example, like me growing up, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist Christian, even though my circumstances weren't good. My dad came from Jamaica, met my mother who was here, ended up having me. He was married already. They had whatever the fuck he was because he wasn't a good person. Took me from my mother, gave me to someone else. I was raised by Black American women. So as a result of that, I got to see a lot up front because she was older. She was born in 45. You feel me? That puts a lot into perspective. So she was born in 45, but you catch me in 1991. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm learning about all of this stuff. I grew up in Southeast DC, but she sent me to a school, DuPont Park. It was the only Adventist school in the area. Technically a private school, but the only thing was you're just not getting shot inside the school. You hear me? You're in the middle between Alabama Avenue and Minnesota Avenue, right there, right next to DuPont Park. It was a lot. Growing up in these spaces, I always question it. You know what I'm saying? And even with the questioning, most of it is met by gaslighting and or you're this, you're that. This is on top of whatever trauma I experienced, so it got to be on my trauma. But then at the same exact time, it was like, why am I learning about Israel in the Black church? And then why am I, when I'm getting older, now understanding that there's a dead language that has been carried by a group of people that now are owed dominion to the entirety of the world on the basis of a script that was manipulated by a Scottish English king that came from Ethiopia on the basis of a deeper, more spiritual African religion. What the fuck are we talking about?
We talking about empire.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as I got older and all of my anger just kind of as I learned more, because I didn't just know this stuff, I had to learn this stuff. And as I learned this stuff, my anger got more validated. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Oh, okay, this makes sense. Oh, okay, this makes sense. Oh, that's why misogyny exists the way it does. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that's why they try to get rid of the trans and queer community and they did the HIV thing. And okay, this all makes sense. And us being here now, and they're outwardly just this isn't no live leaks, no rotten.com, no low-key 4chan Reddit shit. This is you scroll on Instagram and you see somebody get blown up, or you're seeing us with a knee on the neck, or getting hung, or somebody making fun of one of us getting a knee on the neck,
or getting killed while going on a run.
leaving and then coming back for a little bit, because I know we're going to talk about that later, but leaving and then coming back really put into perspective the reality that none of us are immune to propaganda. Because the propaganda may not necessarily be the lies of the empire, but it's the idea that we're not more individualistic than we are, even though we're doing it on the basis of survival. Like, it doesn't change the reality of what it is, even though there is an actual pressing reason as to why this has been the outcome and or result of how we turn out. Does that make sense?
No, that makes 100% sense.
Everything is the fault of the British Empire. Like, and if I go a little bit deeper, being around people that identify more with their country more than they identify with whiteness it was a culture shock. It was a culture shock coming into contact with Black people that their experience with racism is truly based on an ignorance versus a hatred for something. Like, if I experience something racist in Scotland, I say something about it, it get handled like that. Like, for example, when I went there, I was really out there. I was really outside. Yo, if you're an artist and you got a show, mind you, all the things I wanted to do that I couldn't do here because for all intents and purposes, you're risking your life doing this, I did over there. So I'm like, yo, if y'all got any local shows, I'm willing to pull up. So people would just host where they had shows and I would just go. I would just go to random venues walking. I'm talking about dead at night. I ended up at this one spot called Slay. I ended up meeting the manager of the night. She was awesome. And another security dude, real chill dude. They see me with the balaclava on. They're like, yo, go ahead and go in. I go inside. It's a dope hardcore show because that's what I was looking for. So I get to swing. I'm doing my thing. Like, it's cool as fuck. You know, you see some of the liberals over here. You see some of the Nazis that's low-key keeping their shit together, but everybody is throwing down. So it was a good time. That was when the security guard comes up to me and he's like, you need to leave. And I'm like, bro, actually, I'm about to be out of here, but you're not about to be all in my face with your dusty ass breath. I'ma just do this. Because there's multiple things that are happening. But one, I am not really understanding the nature of the amount of attention that I've actually received, because social media is one thing, reality is another thing. So I'm thinking it's just people like me on social media. I'm gonna go here and it's just gonna be like, hey, how you doing? I'm not knowing there's people in the crowd that know me that just aren't talking to me. So there were people that actually saw the altercation happen that were like, I actually tried to talk to you before you left and you didn't see me. I find this out later. So dude escorts me out. I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got two options. Two other options besides the potentiality of just whatever. It's like, all right, I'm in a foreign country. So at the end of the day, even if I fight this nigga, something happens to me, I'm stuck here. That's number one. Number two, even if I may be in the right, I'm severely outnumbered by a potentiality of the right, because these things do still exist in other places. So I'm thinking about it from this perspective. And three, how I handle this can greatly determine what I can do with this circumstance thereafter. So let me just leave. Let me go fume off and do what I gotta do. So I left, came back, talked to talked to Keyshawn, was like, yo, this is what I'm going through. Black woman, white woman. I'm like, yo, I'm just out of this, right? They were back at the joint. They said, actually, fuck that. We're going back up there. They went back up there, talked to them. They tried to do the thing. And then they were like, actually, no, you're right. Mind you, I posted it on the gram and people, it's a mix of conversations, but it was an overwhelming majority of Scottish people that were like, you can't tell him what his experience is. So if he says it was racist, it was racist. And that it was just dead stop. So not only did they fix it, but for the next tour I'm having there this year in 7 months, that's the first stop of my show. It's at that venue. So they actually will fix the issue to the point where I didn't even post the dude's name or information. And the people of Scotland found him. They found the security guard. Like, they were like, we don't stand by this. We don't like this. And even though we recognize that these things exist here because of things that we may or may not be able to conceptualize or whatever, we're not going to act like it doesn't exist. Like, we have exhibits here to it. We understand another reality, which is my last name being Scottish. And I've never, you know what I'm saying? So they have to reconcile with the reality of how they may be in part to all of our struggles as people. So that conversation was open. It's the fact that the conversation was open. It's the fact that something was fixed after. It wasn't an open wound. It was like, we discussed it, they acknowledged it, they apologized, they fixed it, we moved on. Like, being in a white country experiencing that was mind-boggling.
That's gotta be like a surreal. That's like Atlanta. That's like an episode of Atlanta almost. Like season 3. You're just like, white people actually like taking accountability?
No.
What?
Full accountability. No. I'm talking about, it was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I ever had in my life, because Scottish people are when it comes to other people, they're very hit or miss. Like, I learned a lot about Scottish history. Like, I learned like Elton John had problems playing there because like, if people don't like your music or they don't like you, they will literally just fucking ignore you. They'll just ignore you. Like, if they don't like you, they don't like you. So like, Scotland liking me to the degree that they do is actually like historically mind-boggling. mind-boggling, just in general. This is outside of the music. This is outside of how it happened. It's just historically mind-boggling. So going there and then also meeting the people. And then a lot of times, you know, of course you get people that are, you always get those people. That's everywhere, especially if you're in a white country, you're going to deal with it. But I'm not from there. I'm from here. And I've seen it, experienced it. My family's been hit by it. It's not the same disconnect as a lot of other people on the other side of the world that are only getting an idea of what America is through the media. They're seeing what America really is by way of me. So it's like, oh, no, I don't fuck with this. And they're like, well, this guy actually did all this. And I'm like, you're not going to tell me. You actually don't know the other history that you think you know about this particular thing. Let me educate you. Now we're having a conversation versus it be like, well, you just think what you think and it is what it is and we don't care. It's like bare minimum, sure. Bare minimum, yes.
Of course.
But powerful, because I'll be hard pressed. There's never been any one time in this country where something was done to me on a racial front and it was actually, the wound was actually cauterized, cleaned, stitched up, repaired, tended to. Like most of my racial experiences in this country, whether it's been as a part of being in the music industry or even me just relationships, whether it be romantic and intimate or it be a friendship, America just leaves open wounds, because as long as you have an open wound, you can create a doctor, you can create a medicine, you can create a antidote, and you can create an anti-antidote to keep it going, because now you know how it works.
Or you can create a prescription drug. The reasons why you're sick aren't completely dismantled, but
come on,
get this prescription drug and just keep coming back to the pharmaceutical company so they can make a little extra money. You don't get cured, just get a little bit of a boost from time to time again. It's like if you got a health potion in a video game and instead of it actually healing you, it like temporarily gets a little bit of health in. But as soon as you
over
get to the next
time,
level, you're back to 10%.
So like, yeah, man, like Scotland was, and I'm not naive enough to believe that it's not also in part to the reality of the fact that I had gained a massive amount of clout before I got there, so they're more willing to listen to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking away from that. I'll be ignorant as hell to act like that wasn't a big part of it, because it was. You know, I could have been any other random person expressing this, and they may or may not have taken it as seriously. But I think it's because they were all collectively a part of this journey, and they were willing to listen to me. And you have no reason to not trust my experiences. In America, white people always find reasons to try to dismiss or justify why they don't care about whatever your experience is. They don't even have a point of reference to begin to dismiss your experiences.
Like the Scottish, just like I want to say the Scottish, just like the Irish, were also colonized themselves too.
Man, because it's so complicated, right? Because even Scotland is willing to acknowledge how they played a part in subjugating Ireland. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
I didn't know that.
It's a lot of history. It's so much that I've learned. Again, there's still more for me to learn about it. But on that particular section of Europe, Scotland and Ireland, them white people want some shit to change. Like there was this one kid named Tyler. Shout out Tyler. He's the homie. I'll call him a kid. We're like the same age. Tyler came the whole tour. A few people came the whole tour. And at the end we were like, yo, I know it must have been expensive. How'd you travel the whole tour? They're like, oh, free public transportation. Huh?
I wish DC had free public transportation.
What do you mean free public transportation? What do you mean free healthcare? What do you mean free college and uni? What do you mean defibrillators at rest stops if somebody gets hurt and it tells you exactly how to use it? What do you mean police aren't patrolling around in the city when houseless people are being fed? What do you mean the cops don't have guns? Even though we know that it's like this. Their shit is very, very, I'm gonna keep it brief. You don't see it for a reason. That's all I'm gonna say. Mm-hmm. But the forefront, the top layer, the top layer is potentially the grounds of the beginning of some beautiful shit.
Yeah.
If they don't get taken over by the MAGA wave, because they told me that they're also experiencing the rise of like, you know, that whiteness shit over there too. And they don't, you know, the people that really, they don't like that shit either, you know. Now, with that, I will still say that there's still very much aspects of whiteness that exist there. Obviously, it's a majority white country. I go based off of the niggas that I see there. And I met a lot of niggas there. And what I've seen and what I've heard so far from the people that I've met is they're kicking it over that motherfucker. Like, I got a boy right now that's in Japan, and he's like, listen, yeah, there's racism, but you got to understand the levels. And until I went to Scotland, I didn't really understand the levels. I can express that I experienced something, and it'll get worked through. Societally, they'll at least try to find ways to fix certain things, even though they still have their own cracks in their systems and stuff like that. Over here, the system is built in a way specifically to subjugate people that look like us, to kill people that look like us, to murder people that look like us. So, like, we have to literally fight the system to get a basic need met, like a basic need, maybe not even like, it's like maybe met, and then the system works so well psychologically that it'll have people that look like you working with the system to stop you from getting your basic needs met. Completely different structure of system than coming in contact with a white dude that had a bad day that want to say something dumb and you irritated as fuck, and y'all might get into a little whatever and you keep it moving, or you may have to wait a little bit longer to get something free, but once you get it, it actually takes care of you, you know? So again, that is from my first real, very ignorant perspective, having gone into the country on the basis of being someone that was somehow adopted via Instagram.
No, but that's fascinating though, because it also sets a precedence why they want to prevent so many folks, especially folks with platforms who will say the controversial shit that needs to be said, from like being able to go outside the country. Mind you, a lot of our favorite revolutionaries, Angela Davis's, the Paul Robesons, were able to go outside the country and take in different environments. Because once you see those environments, the Harry Haywoods,
they have a mural of Nelson Mandela.
They have a memorial. You said they have a memorial?
Oh no, sorry, they have a mural of Frederick Douglass, and they have a Nelson Mandela street.
Again, you go out, you take these in, and you realize that, hey, the United States ain't really the center of all this thing. They're not really the center of anything. They really just projecting a bunch. And now you're coming back home and you're like, wow, we could have so much more.
We could have so much more. We can be so much more. We can just like, I think what it really was the emotionally crushing blow of the reality that we all got lost in the sauce. Like the whole thing started because I was on Instagram and I was like, it's funny that niggas in DC don't see me, but niggas in Scotland see me. And then it just blew up after that. And then I was like, I wonder if there are black people in Scotland. And then that started catching fire. That someone took it on TikTok, and then it started blowing up. So then, you know, people that were following my journey, they were like, we watched you start these things. So now they're hooked on whatever it is. And it's like the irony of that, to come back after being in Scotland, mind you, a majority white country, and maybe having in the 2 weeks, I had maybe 1 or 2 racial altercations and never got called niggas in my face. And the moment I get back to this country, I get pushed for detainment by a white Hispanic woman.
Colonialism is a hell of a drug, yo.
I'm like, it's like shit really don't have to be this way. I've been many places, you know, and all I learned is that things don't have to be this way. Again, no society is perfect. Like misogyny still very much exists. So women still deal with a lot of shit that they shouldn't have to deal with. Us as niggas still deal with a lot of things that we shouldn't have to deal with, you know, and those of us that are part of the queer community still have a lot of shit that, you know, but I've noticed and learned that not only are there places that do try and are doing better, even with these things still existing, but like America's so very special. Like America and like the British Empire is just so very different, and like their lack of care about us as people. Like we're literally just not people to a lot of these motherfuckers, like genuinely. And I think coming back to the country and realizing that I live in a country where I'm genuinely not considered a person, it's like, wow. And being forced to have to see the difference in how whiteness has really affected people. Like the concept of whiteness. It's like it really had me fucked up, because it was like, we don't gotta be like this, but man, if something doesn't change quick, like I don't think that we as a country are the more individualistic we get, the closer to being Israeli we are, whether we want to admit that or not, because you have to not give a fuck about literally the concept of existence has to not have any meaning to you for you to be okay with some of the shit that's going on.
No, 100%.
So like I came back here and I was like, oh yeah, this is ugly. This is actually a lot uglier than I thought it was, because I'm in it all the time, and I'm, you know, simultaneously contributing to it whether I want to or not. Even as an independent artist, I have to use platforms, and I have to, in order to connect with my audience, I have to pay into kids getting blown up. Like I have to live with that.
It's like a lot of times, like in order to critique the system, you're always participating in it. It's your participation in it. Mind you, not your, I don't want to say ignorant, there's a better term for it, but it's not like you're like unwitting. It says not unwitting, because you know how the system, you know that the system is meant to exploit, and it's meant to dehumanize you as black folks, as women, as queer folks, disabled people, all in between, all combining them all together, all the intersections and stuff like that. It's knowing that this system is built against you, and all at the same time, not compromising for the system, but understanding how your participation in the system isn't because you love it, it's because you're forced to. You are forced to have to work a certain way
Listen,
that depletes you.
Let me tell you something. The person that helped put this together with me when all this, like, besides, like, the person that helped me put this together was a man named Superman, right? When you look back on my photos, you see a man in a wheelchair with a mask on because he has muscular dystrophy. He was the reason why this tour happened the way that it did. Once we found out venues, he hit us up. He's like, yo, what's up? Like, I really fuck with you. Da, 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 da. Indian dude. We get to chat. I'm talking about, like, we built, like, maybe, like, 7 months of a relationship at this point. We talked every single day, all of us. And it's been like, yo, okay, so this spot over here in Glasgow, okay, we're gonna go over there. Okay, Edinburgh, okay, boom. All right, Aberdeen, boom. Okay, I got this one spot. Okay, Kansas over here, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to this venue. I'm gonna talk to, you gotta understand, Sanjeev is in a wheelchair, okay? He can talk to us, but that is the extent of what he can do, right? So my friend, right, because at this point, we're like this now, right? My friend who has muscular dystrophy was able to help me, someone with BPD, manic depression. I can go down the fucking list of stuff. We were able to work together and put together a tour that brought together the community of Scotland. They don't want that to happen because it could have been different if it was someone like when I came back here, this is why it hit me so hard. It could have been different. There's a bunch of able-bodied motherfuckers running around here just yelling and shit. There's a nigga in Scotland in a wheelchair that is bringing people together across country. What are we talking about?
Right.
Like, that's where my anger is coming from. Even in places that I hadn't grown, that I thought I had grown. Like, I had to look at that too. I came back and I was like, nah, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. There's no way. It was so insanely powerful on so many different levels. So when I came back, I just was like, yeah, like I don't even feel the same no more because I know for a fact it's possible. And I know for a fact it doesn't have to be like this. Like, I'm a nigga completely independent. I shut down my TikTok at like 22, 23,000 because once the Donald Trump shit happened, I was like, I've been in too many abusive relationships. You're not gonna keep me in this. And if shit is just gonna be harder, it's just gonna be harder. Ain't no difference in what the fuck I've been doing. I got 8.34 subscribers, I think, or 24 subscribers on fucking YouTube, and I drop a song, I get 300 views in a month. I know what this game is. I don't give a fuck about Spotify, but I got 12,000 followers on Spotify, but got 6,000 monthly listeners. I know what this game is. I watched my shit jump from 6.7 monthly on Instagram to 2.3 monthly if I do my collaborations with Focus Congo. I know what they're doing.
Now that you bring that up, that actually happens with me. I don't have nowhere near as many followers. But like, as soon as I hit 1,500 for the first time, it teeters depending on what post I make.
Absolutely.
If I just keep it kind of regular, I talk about school or something like that, then it stays solid. Or if I'm quiet, it usually stays silent. But like, as soon as I post something political, that's with the stuff with Venezuela, the stuff with like Congo, especially Palestine, Nigeria, when we bombed Nigeria at the end of this,
literally.
And at first, when it happened a while back, I'm like, what? So are people just unadding me and then adding me back because they want to ignore me? Is it bots? And then it kept happening, and I'm like, oh, this is bigger than me. And that autism, that pattern recognition. Yep. Like, oh, this has been happening for months now. If I post a certain thing,
and then people would be like, yo, I was following you yesterday and I'm not following you today.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, everything cool? They're like, yeah. I don't know why we stopped talking. I'm like, might be for the same reason why I can't talk about certain things on the phone without it shutting down. But
real shit. Real shit. And I talked to Pappy from Focus Congo. Like, that's like, I love Pappy. Like, we like, so
shout out to Focus on Congo, by the way.
Shout out Focus Congo.
Please follow them. Please focus on Congo. But that's the segue. Finish your point.
No. Thank you for that. Yeah, because I do my work like this. Like, I know how the system works, and niggas still gotta eat. So you gotta find a way to do both. I told myself that I wasn't gonna sign to any labels, so I already knew that I was gonna do that. Labels will hit me up to do shit. I've done stuff with different groups. I've been fucked over independently. I've been fucked over majorly. The safest thing to do is to just build your shit organically. Being able to get famous in a country of 5.5 million people while also being algorithmically shadow man is absolutely unheard of as an independent artist. People pay for that type of reach.
We applaud you. That's why we done reached it. Don't reach you. You hit the right circles.
It was just solely off of the strength of catching lightning in a pan, man. Because it was like, I think at a certain point, like when my videos blow up, they blow up like randomly. It's like something may just catch fire because I just happen to say something that doesn't get flagged under the algorithm. Like, I'll tell you how crazy this shit is. I'll post a response to a video, and in the AI descriptor of what I'm talking about in the video, it'll say Kira Noir and Miss B Nasty videos. Exactly. I'm trying to find a way to say this like the nicest way.
Be as brutally honest as you need.
Posted 2.5 thousand reels before this happened. I have to overwork the algorithm to get in front of it. So unless I'm willing to, because I have up times and down times. When I was in Scotland, I was on an uptime for like 2 weeks. So I'm posting all the time, every time. Doesn't matter what the fuck I'm posting. It doesn't matter how many views I'm getting because I realistically don't care. And because I was also being fed in other ways. I would go outside, get something to eat, and groups of people be like, yo, what's up? You're that dude. And I'd be like, yo, what's up? And I'd like, that was enough to feed me to not have to care about how much I'm posting, because I knew for a fact, even if I posted something and 3,000 people saw it, at least 100 people actually saw it. You know what I'm saying? That would maybe be like, yo, you were at where I was at like an hour ago. If you need anything, hit me up. You feel me? So yeah. The algorithm hasn't changed because I'm still the same person. I won't say I got lucky, but I'll say that I found a crack in the matrix and I exploited it. And so now as a result of that, I don't have to do as much work because now there's 5.5 million people that are already attuned to me. So I already covered that base. So all I got to do is go back, do all of the cool shit that they wanted me to do the first time that I didn't have time to do, that I also wanted to do, hit a couple more shows. And then the next time I see y'all is when y'all see me on the street because I'm there to visit. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. It's like everyone's trying to goal mine, but for some reason the goal itself is always moved on. And it's a weird way to put it, but it's like you're trying to strike gold, but like the gold is moving where it's located. Like it's purposefully like no, like you're trying to strike gold, but someone's moving the gold from this place to another place as you're actively doing it, and now you're just hoping that maybe if you just hit it at the right time, then like, oh, I got something somewhere. I think you can figure out its pattern.
And I think I'm close because, man, like there's a lot of people from a lot of places that say they see me that are like, yo, like I give an example. I think they're in Brazil, no, Colombia, I believe. And they had like a Scottish friend, and the person in Colombia was like, yo, do you know about the American rapper that is like in Scotland that's doing that? And they're like, yo, that's crazy. How'd that pop up on your algorithm? It's like that. So I genuinely have no scale of how many people have actually seen all of what took place or is currently taking place. I have zero idea because of the way that Instagram's algorithm works. So some people may see it at other times. They may or may not comment. They may not be on Instagram and then happen to get on Instagram, and then I'm at the top of their algorithm and now they're tuning into what's happening. I have no idea. Whereas before there was kind of like, you can at least know how many people were truly interacting with you. So to answer the question, I'm constantly in a state of disillusionment as a result of that, but it's more grounding to recognize the reality that the numbers are lying to you. Like I sold out 2 120 person venues in less than 3 months in another country. The numbers are lying to you. And if you use the numbers as a way to guide you to what is and what isn't, you're going to be stuck in the same cycle forever. Because as long as they're able to pump numbers in places that they know they could pump numbers in, and as long as people are focused only on numbers, you're always going to be stuck in the same cycle of looking for people with numbers. So you're always going to find the same exact thing that they want to give you. So you're almost stuck in empire.
You heard it here, folks. The numbers are lying.
Yeah. And it doesn't take away the fact that there is some truth to it, because once you crack into a certain place, then, you know, it's not taken away from the fact that masses of people can all join in the same place collectively together. If everyone is scattered, like, for example, there's artists in countries in Africa that sell out stadiums that we have never heard of, You feel me? Like, there's artists in other places that you'll look on that shit and be like, you got a couple views on here, and are selling out 2,000 cap venues. So it's like, there may be some truth to these numbers, but not everyone that has 3, 4, 5, 10 million views can even sell out in 1,000, 2,000 person venue. If you got 5 million views on your shit off cuff and you can get that regularly, and for some odd reason you can't sell out 2,000 person venue, is your community really that connected to you?
Yeah, you can have 5 million streams and still have half a stadium left away.
Learned a lot of these things the hard way. It's a lot of it is you want to see your work in real time. You know, if I'm shoveling snow, then I would like to see the pile up. Music in this country is a very odd psychological game they play, where you're almost forced into a constant state of gambling, and you never really see the real fruits of your labor because they're always taking things from the back end. So it's like, imagine if your piggy bank had a small hole in it and only pennies and dimes could fall through. The dollars don't slip through, but the dimes do. And if you're getting dimes for a while and every time you put it in, they're slipping it in, and then one day you find find out that thousands of dollars worth of dimes have fallen through, even though your piggy bank was able to hold maybe $400. You know what I mean? Like it's ugly. It's ugly. There's beauty in community and connections that I've built all across the United States. I've had many people that have helped and supported me on my journey here. And shout out to all of the artists that are still going. The ones that are really doing this on an independent scale understand exactly what I mean. Like you're either hustling and you putting that money in and you getting underground street money, or you doing the social media thing. And if you're doing the social media thing, you either playing the game like Adam Killer, and then later on you find out that Adam Killer also is related to Chance the Rapper and Taylor Bennett. So it's like you start realizing even people that were given or maybe connected to opportunities also still have to play the same exact game. So everybody's in competition for the same 10 million people when there's a world of billions. So if I'm only focused on the 600,000 in DC, then I'm missing the 5.5 million in Scotland. You feel me? Or the 2, 3, 4 million wherever else it is. Like I'm missing the opportunity to do the same things in other places because I'm so focused on trying to reach the 3 to 400 million people in this country, maybe. And most of them don't even like niggas. But yeah, like there's a lot of other places I want to go along with that too. Many South Africans have hopped on my shit to be like, yo, you gotta come to Johannesburg. I'm like, fuck yeah, I would love to. It's not just Scotland. I would love to go. So wherever the music takes me and however that opportunity plays out, that's where I'm at. Because I feel like that's the only way to move around the empire. Only way. Because fighting within it isn't a problem, and I'll continue to do so. But there's just so many people that feel like it feels like they're fighting against it. They're fighting against the I exist in America. I'm a hypocrite by proxy. Like, my goal is to minimize that. Like, I don't fuck with white people, but I've had white partners. I've also been in spaces where I've been a slave on American soil. You know what I'm saying? I've had a myriad of experiences, even though the closest people to me have and will always be Black people. There's a dichotomy. I think for me, my politics I don't know if this is a privilege of me to say this, but I don't really feel like my politics are really radical. I think everybody should just have fucking water. Babies shouldn't get blown up, and women shouldn't have metal instruments stuck inside of them and pieces of them ripped out. Like I don't, like people should be able to have access to healthcare. Most places should be wheelchair accessible. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like that's radical. Like for me, like I grew up watching my mom get the shit beat out of her. I was fighting my dad at 4 years old. Like my first time just even dropping some real shit, my first time being raped or sexually assaulted was when I was a toddler. So I've been radicalized since I was a kid because I've always been angry. And even with that, growing up in the church and having a church just telling me that because I'm angry, I'm the problem, even with knowing a lot of the things I experienced. So as a result of that anger was always going to isolate me from people. And then as I grew older and people started to see things, and then they started no longer being able to lie to themselves, and they were coming to me asking me how to handle the anger that they had that they weren't willing to acknowledge at the time because they had similar experiences. So it's like I've always had to learn shit. I wasn't perfect in friendships or relationships or different shit. I had to learn everything on my own. But I learned, and with that I learned, I grow, and I chose what I wanted to do. So I don't really see none of this as radical because I try to live like this in like my real life. I don't think everything has to be so stoic. Yeah, read a fucking book, but also learn how to be nice to your friends that's going through shit. Like if you can't do that, it don't matter how much you fucking read. If your people don't feel safe around you, it don't matter how many protests you go to. It don't matter how many times you go on social media and yell at motherfuckers about stuff. If the people around you don't feel like they can open up to you and you have a safe space for them. So like I don't really see this shit as radical. I see this shit as everybody should be giving a fuck about the fact that the president's a fucking pedophile, and that radical. It's like it just shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that just
no. It's like this country has a habit making the bare minimum feel like the final step. And that even applies to our understandings of radicalism. It's radical for many of us to do the things that we do because this country was built on genocide and slavery, wants to maintain genocide and slavery.
Right.
So the idea of creating a socialist or communist economy, or the idea of having free, at the bare minimum, free healthcare, free education, free housing, disability care, like being able to just like get access to wheelchairs, to documentation as in being like diagnoses, being able to be diagnosed with a disability, without having to spend so much money in life.
Man,
Like
my mom,
that,
when my
like
mom was
that,
at the Cancer Research Center, they lost her. That's how I knew this shit was a sham. They left her to go travel by herself, and she was already degenerative. She was already tired. She was already dealing with what she dealt with. And by the time I ended up seeing her again when she was in the hospital, her tumor was so big that her stomach was like she was 9 months pregnant. She had ovarian cancer. So I've watched the system fail both mama, like directly. You know what I'm saying? It was like my stepmom worked at the Veterans Affairs Hospital of North Capitol. She was in the psych ward taking care of all the vets. So I was in the hospital with her when I was younger, seeing all that shit up close. Like I've watched how the system is treated. So it's like, how can you unsee that? You know, I don't think a nigga can save the world type shit, but like at least let niggas know that there's a world that needs saving.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like at the very least, like, yo, there's a fire, bro. I might not survive to put it out, but like
I at least want to inspire somebody to get some water. See, it's like what Tupac said. He said he might be the one to change the world, but he'll definitely inspire them. But he'll hopefully definitely inspire the mind person who's going to change the world. And that's the least that folks can ask for with any platform, is being able to just change. Just if they can just make you critically think, at least at one moment there. We got you.
Yeah, we not even at the point where we let alone acknowledge the room. How the fuck we gonna get to the repair point?
So yeah, how are you gonna make a new house? Because we've been integrating a burning house and people still want to take residency.
And that's what's crazy to me, is because we're fully aware of this shit and we still gonna do it. We still gonna do it. Like I've watched conversation after conversation about this type of thing. Like I've watched so many people over so many periods of time just go through, like, there's so many dialectical studies, and you know, this is how this should move, or maybe we should do this, and all of these like college conversations. And it's been years of discussion that I've seen people have in regards to topics like this. And then the one thing that I haven't seen after all of this time on some real ass shit, like the one thing is I haven't seen is somebody just be like, yo, do y'all want this to stop? All right, we want this to stop. All right, somebody got to get popped, bro. Somebody get popped. We're having all these studies about where it came from in the history, and it's very true, and how it's affecting people. But it's like, I don't think it's radical. I don't think it's radical to say that. It's like, I've seen niggas get popped for less in the city. Are we talking about right or wrong? Okay, what's the basis of morality? Like, what's the levels at which you believe that divine justice should be instilled upon somebody on the basis of how much they harm you? What's the levels of harm? How many people do they have to kill? How many communities have to be destroyed? How many children have to be sacrificed before you feel like divine justice has to be applied in a circumstance?
Why do we feel the need we have to wait on somebody to enact that justice? Why can't we just?
And it's not like, and why do we not understand the differences in types of violence? Like,
yeah, like Fanon talked about, like, violence of the oppressed is different than violence from the oppressor.
Come on, like, again,
uppercut's always going to be different than a forward smash.
Come on, don't talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit. What do you mean, bro? Like, and then you mad at me because I learned how to counter. What do you mean? What do you mean you got 3 stocks because you slept on me? Now you're mad. Like, what do you mean, dog? And bro, and I'm so glad you said that, because it happens like that every time, right? It's like every time that we start coming up on something, we start learning something, we start building a community, start connecting, we go, all right, this is what we need to do, and we gonna find a way to get it back. Okay, some of us don't want to get it back in blood. Okay, so we gonna try this way. We try this way. Okay, it worked in some areas, didn't work in some other areas. Okay, we might have to get some of this back in blood. Okay, cool. Woo. But like, why can't we all just agree on this shit?
If we talked about that, it would take the entire year. It is so much. There is so much that needs to be talked about. And hey, what you're looking at, y'all, is 2 platforms that are going to be talking about it. Both with Aerospace and Yanta Magazine. It was only a matter of time before the collab came in.
I'm saying. Okay, I answered both of those. First thing is I believe my very first anime was Sailor Moon. But I vaguely remember it being Neon Genesis Evangelion. Really, really young when that hit me. As far as the anime that is, I'd say is Outlaw Star. The Aerospace thing isn't just like it's not just escapism, you know? Like, I really, really, really love the concept of space, or the reality of space. And anime somehow has been able to find a way to provide a guiding light in certain areas, specifically space anime, like Blue Sub 6, Gundam Wing, you know, we go down list. Razafon, Escaflowne, a lot that have a lot of psychological bending. I like more seinen anime too. A lot more seinen anime. So yeah, I give it to Outlaw Star, and my first is Evangelion. Anime, I think especially like up until like my mid-20s, anime was like a really big thing. Anime and just films in general, you know. And then at a certain point I was like, I stopped watching it because not only did the quality change, but it just felt like I was being fed something in particular, and I wasn't really down with that agenda. So
there has been talks, and I've been kind of picking this out too.
there's anime, like, even for example, like I made a mixtape series based on Bakemonogatari, and it's specifically about a specific season that there was an intertwining of relation with just like me growing up and how I identified from a gender perspective and dealing with spirituality and different things like that. And then as the seasons went on, like I just had to stop watching because I was just like, it seems like y'all are okay with shit that I'm not really rocking with. You peeping what I'm saying?
They stick with that imperialism, that fascist Japan propaganda. Folks have been clocking it recently. I've been noticing. I remember
I had to stop fucking with anime.
Wisecrack. If you know what Wisecrack, they introduced me to that argument that like Japan has been pretty slick with how they have certain kinds of like messages, like even the trope of like the school to train the characters. A lot of shonen is is connected to a lot of the indoctrination programs they'd have in Japan during World War II, and I didn't even think about that connection. It just looked cool to me because like we're kids, so like we're supposed to go to school. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think about how a lot of anime, they're basically making child soldier. My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, like,
and it's not just child soldiers. It's like not even trying. It's normalizing children as being the forefront of very adult themes, and it's just weird. It's just weird. It was like, I don't think it really hit me until like I really stopped like watching like anime for real, because the only thing that I'm watching recently is Gaki Uchida.
I actually recently bought the first book of the manga.
It's really fucking good.
I saw how the black people looked, and I'm like, okay, they don't.
Oh no, they like
sold. I'm already in. That bare minimum. But here, going back to the earlier conversation, it's like you can't. It's like we already know how we are seen. But we just saw like a black cosplayer die because
that shit was so sad, bro. Off the suicide,
it was so sad. It was so sad. Please, condolences to the family and friends. To their family and friends.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. But like, that's not even the first time that's happened too. When I first found out, I'm like, this has been going on for a very long time. Like, I can recall at least 2 or 3 times I'd find out about a black cosplayer or a black fan of the anime community dying because of the vitriol, the racism, the misogyn war.
Ask why I left the lo-fi community. Ask why I left the lo-fi community, even though I was one of the main niggas that had started lo-fi from 2011 and 2012.
Break that down for us.
Because of racism. Literally, there was a group that I was in that literally stole my money, lied on my name, manipulated, and literally weaponized an entire fan base against me for calling them out for racism. I'm talking about getting threats in my DMs type shit. I'm like, not only y'all playing with the wrong one, but it's really crazy to see y'all do that in real time and be so comfortable with it on the basis of trying to protect whiteness in a space that you aren't the center of. You're not the center of hip hop, and you're not the center of anime culture.
Right.
Yeah, that shit is rampant. And it's sad because there's a lot of black artists that do styles, and I ain't gonna say shit, but I'm gonna keep it real, not fucking up nobody money. But the reality is they don't want to fuck up the money, so they're not gonna say nothing. They gonna hop in the DMs and say something on the low key shit, but they still gonna appease to the fans and not anger them too much because they still want to get that check. And that's the reason why that shit stay the way it is.
Yeah, and the fascinating thing about what you're talking about with lo-fi and everything, like everything connected to like the anime community and the anime manga community and experience, that whole experience, is that it's like many other forms of creative industries and entertainment. It runs on black creativity. Our stuff is what makes it hot. Like you can't find an anime where its cool factor cannot be tied. You can't find an anime where its cool factor is not tied to blackness.
Blackness, period. Cowboy Cowboy
Whether it be how they
Bebop.
talk, how they fight, how they create community, how they shoot, even the designs, how they look. Like I will see whole outfits, and I'm like for example, I will see a whole like when I saw the fusions in Dragon Ball for the first time when I was a kid. The first thing that came to mind was these are MC Hammer.
Oh my God.
These are MC Hammer pants. Like Killer B, I'm like, he obviously black. That's
Obviously.
more of an obvious example of stuff like that. One Piece, they have the dude, the one pirate, where he's like just a soundboard, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He's like all like crooked and stuff. I can't think of the name. Someone comment below who I'm talking about, but he has all the music and stuff like that. Like these are just a few little crumbs, and there's obviously way better examples to turn to. But black creativity is partly black creativity is what brought anime to where it is now. It was our love, our ability to connect with it in the storylines. Yet at the same time, it's like, nah, we don't want you on our screens. We can talk about these serious issues, but let's not have a black character be a part of this.
Come on.
Black characters are part of this. Now we gotta actually like contend with the real life stuff. You want to escape.
That was my critique of Attack on Titan, because I thought it was good, but it got me upset because I'm like,
it turned fascist in the end. It turned fascist.
And it wasn't even just that. It's like you got the nigga that really is the most mad. Don't make sense, because you got Connie beating up old Nigerian or Ghanaian homie, and then you got Aaron mad. Aaron gets to be mad, but not the black person in the anime. So now you got me identifying with almost the usurping of my feelings by way of a white, and then it's actually like Japanese imperialist, and then it's like, and then I learned about what happened with China and Japan, and then I'm like Korea, and I'm like, can y'all stop? Can y'all stop?
They elected a fascist this past year.
Come on.
I don't think it's gonna stop anytime soon. And best believe that the anime that we consume is gonna have it's gonna take a little turn.
It's gonna take a little turn. I think it's gonna get a little bit weirder. Truly, I think it's gonna get weirder.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna get more perverted, and I think that the violence may become a little bit more psychological. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that I know
that's imperialism.
Maybe I'm biased. Yeah, that's imperialism. That's all imperialism. Like maybe I'm biased, but I'm like, if anime or Japanese animation, let's be specific with that, because they're not the only. But also, kind of going back to the imperialism, the fact that Japan can have such a such domination of the international animation market is something that should be talked about, which might be.
Damn! Wow, I'm so glad that you said that, because until this moment, I never really thought about it. It took a while. I had like an aversion to reading manhwa for a while. I just offered the strength of like anything that wasn't a specific anime style, if you know what I mean. Like I just didn't like it, and then I started like venturing out, and I learned. I was like, damn, some of this shit is actually much better.
Right? It's like, wait, Chinese animation, Donghua exists.
Amazing.
Like India has its own animation. Africa, across the
Korea,
it's almost like a repeat. It's almost like a repeat of history. Like Japan didn't just conquer the land; they conquered the culture. That's what imperialism does. Like that's we might really have to make that a Column Conscious video.
Yeah, we might have to. But you kind of
stay tuned for that video. But no, the fact that there's such that Japan has dominated the international market on animation may be tied to like imperialism.
It might. Listen, it might be part of design and structure. Truly, it might just be an extension of, because I saw a Japanese man. I was scrolling on Instagram. My algorithm is actually kind of crazy. Like it's either doom scrolling on one or it's all politics. And there was a Japanese man that was speaking about how Japan is just a colony of the United States, and that fucked me up, because then I had to kind of look into even more so. I was just like, how many other places are just colonies, just extensions of the U.S., just
South Korea.
Come on, like.
I know Black Liberation Media has a great episode on imperialism, like the imperialism of Korea from Japan and the United States. We'll definitely have to I'll definitely recommend the video.
Please do.
But no,
everything was okay until the Fire Nation arrived.
And the Fire Nation arrived officially in 1776.
Jesus Christ.
And been burning stuff down since.
I grew up in poverty. Like, people were bringing cans of food and vegetables to the door. Like, my mom, my stepmom, my mom, I'll use that interchangeably because she's who raised me. I don't know if it was ego or if there was other things involved. Maybe I just wasn't privy to the other things that were going on. Maybe we couldn't receive government assistance, or maybe there were other things that, were just in place. She worked for a long time, very, very long time. And then when she left the VA hospital, they cut her payments. So she wasn't getting paid much, like, at all. So, but she was also super Christian. So even though I was outside, and it was slowly but surely, it was like I was slowly on the road to trapping. That's just a fact. Like, I got offered guns multiple times as a kid. Once when I was really, really young. Another when I was about 11. I was out with a homie named Lightskin, funny enough. He was the one that was doing the majority of what it was. Had a homie named Toby. He was more so the muscle. He would just rock around. And I was around. And it was like, on one end, I was like, all right, niggas act like there isn't a type of fear that comes with the environment. There is, which is the reason why you get a gun in the first place. So I always grew up in the environment, had friends that were in it, but I never picked it up. So I just hustled in other ways while simultaneously dealing with whatever psychological things I was dealing with, while simultaneously living with, for all intents and purposes, a complete stranger, while simultaneously being in a Christian household and being told that I can't do certain things. And if I do certain things, then I'm just going to have to figure it out. So I left at 16. So I say it influenced pretty much all of it, because even now, it's not something that I can't not talk about, because it's still a part of my life to some degree. It's not nearly what it was when I was younger, but it's still a part of my life. That whole spend money to make money shit is real. I've gotten big checks and lost big checks. I've been outside, lived with other people, lived on my own. So right now, I'm probably in the most stable position that I've been in my entire life, but it's not nearly what it is that I would hope for myself or for the people around me that I love and care about, even though there is gratefulness for being able to be in a clean space and a cut that I wanted, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting more for yourself, but then that's part of the hypocrisy that I was discussing, like wanting more for yourself, but where's your cap, and what are you willing to do in order to get that? How much are you willing to play into the systems that you vehemently reject in order to make enough, in order to sustain your own space of living? It's a nasty game. I just think that people just try too hard to be perfect versus just real about whatever the fuck it is. Everybody's conditions are different. Do I boycott McDonald's? Absolutely. Do some people live in a space where there's only a McDonald's and maybe a fucking Wawa? Yeah. That don't have a car and they can't drive 5 miles or 7 miles to the fucking grocery store, so they have to pay and buy McDonald's. Yeah, everybody has different circumstances. So I just think people should do the best with the circumstances that they have and try to do more if they can. Other than that, like, this whole shit is fucked up. That's why you end up finding out much later about a lot of people that you look up to being on whatever it may be, because it's just like, when you're living in a space that forces you to have to be a bridge version of yourself, and you're getting people attached to a not real version of who you are. And it's very different. Niggas will never be surprised if they see me pop off on somebody because I pop off on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Niggas will never be surprised about me ever having done sex work because I've made a song called Amateur Porn. Like, I really try to live my life as transparently as possible. Everybody's allowed to have things to themselves, but I feel like that's the best thing that I can do if I'm showing up in the world any at all. Yeah, this
is a reality. Well, and definitely with like how pop culture is constructed, it wants you to give like this false idea of authenticity, even if authenticity is even like something that you can box in. So making sure that
when I hopped on the gram and I said I had 4 friends die last year, one of them I watched die, and I ended up having to call up a whole friend group because they cut me from the funeral, and then I found out later at the end of the year that the mother and sister wanted me there. So there was some other shit that I didn't know about how niggas felt about me. That was my real life. It's my real life. So it's like, I don't like using my real life as a drama. That's why I just express how I feel about the world, and I may express other things that I'm feeling, something that can help people or something that can maybe even help me. It may just even be a joke, a meme, whatever. But if I'm a shoot to kill, and I only do it in spaces where it's well deserved. I'm not trigger happy, and a lot of people are just trigger happy on the internet, because being trigger happy gets you views, and get you views in some instances sometimes gets you money.
Like, in order to like be the biggest thing, to have the biggest impact, kind of what you touched on earlier, find out about these people you look up to, even to have that platform. It's like you have to stomp on so many people. Your favorite artist, actor, whomever, had to stomp on so many, not necessarily because, not all the time necessary, because they enjoy or anything like that, or they're competitive. But that's how the U.S. capitalist, racist, white supremacist, patriarchal, you name it, system works.
Absolutely.
You have to dehumanize yourself to get the things that every human being should have.
Oh, and I've done that. I've done a lot of dehumanization of myself. I've been treated in ways that I look back at. I grieve how I've allowed myself to be treated just off of the strength of believing that I was working towards a dream that ultimately was a manufactured structure for me to work towards to feed the system. Like, man.
On a lighter note, kind of connected to this still, the reason how I was able to find your account, which is allow us to have this, I wouldn't say interview, but more like a conversation, honestly. And I appreciate that. Thank you again for taking your time.
Always saying.
For trusting us with this information. Folks need to know that this is real stuff. This isn't a persona. These are people having a convo. You're talking about real stuff that you've seen, you've had to experience. So for one, thank you on behalf of Jansa. Thank you so much for having us do a conversation on this.
Appreciate you.
How I discovered you was through your Good Morning Gang post. I was a senior in college when I first post, and honestly, I just saw them as a good thing to wake up to them because, like, stressed with college, I want to graduate. I'm seeing this post. Everything's happening. This is like late 2023, so October 7th's happening, and so everybody's talking about Palestine, but not everybody's talking about Palestine where they should be talking about Palestine. And so I see your post, and I'm like, I need it. I feel a little more motivated. You know what I'm saying? And then as I kept just seeing your post, they became political in a way that I just like, the anti-imperialist shit. I'm like, this is more than just a good morning. This is a good morning. Wake up! It's time for the revolution. And so they're literally one of the reasons why I was even able to find you. So thank you for making those posts. And I probably said it for a lot of people. Thank you, because you've been inspiring us to keep going.
The good morning was actually an accident. Like, it actually started with me just being like, good morning, and then I'll just say whatever's on my mind. And then one day I said the good morning gang, I hope you slept well, I hope your tummy's all right then. And it just kind of felt right. And I was thinking to myself at first, it's like, should this just be something that I just do like once or twice? Because, when you get caught up in working in the algorithm and reels and different things like that, like, you're told that repetition is key. But if you get caught up in what your audience says, it's very easy for you to get lost and feeling like you're doing the wrong thing. So it was actually a mixture of different things. The good morning specifically, that came about organically because I was doing a bunch of wild shit before. And then I was like, I'm just going to stick with this because this feels like mine. It doesn't feel like I may have gotten an idea from something else and it may have just bled into what I'm doing subconsciously or whatever. It just feels like mine. So I'm going to do it. Like, that's why I still do it. And it was also like a mantra for myself as well, because every message that was presented after me saying good morning was more so me trying to bring people into the world of the things that I'm feeling, and the fuck the government thing at the end was really like it was a tire, because at the end of the day, like, everything that I'm explaining to you about whether it is, not allowing yourself to be used or manipulated relationships, or to do your best not to overstep on people's boundaries, and to acknowledge your impact on people versus your intent, whatever the case those things are, a lot of what we have been disconnected from is ancestral. Like, they were already doing a lot of these things in the communities, already taking care of their people, or communicating and working towards having a better harvest for the greater whole, So, like, the reality is our disconnect is as a result of our government and the people connected, all of the oligarchs and billionaires and whoever it is, Black Rocks, whatever it may be. Like, these are the structures that are divided. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that are dividing us. So fuck the government isn't just like, fuck this government and that government. It's like, fuck the governing apparatus that is keeping us disconnected from each other, So some people get it.
Feeling that message, especially as of this recording.
Shout out everybody that's tapped in. That's why I'll just be like, yo, nigga, I'm not perfect, bro. Just see me for who I am. That's it.
We shouldn't have to be perfect to get there.
Facts, big facts, big facts. We should not have to do that for the bare minimum. You're absolutely correct. I'll start with this. I did Afropunk 2 years with a hardcore band as a drummer. In that time period, I watched what seemed like a space for our people slowly turn into a space that we were being excluded from. I kept going because I knew there was something that needed to be done. Gen Z is very good at pushing forward. Very, very good at pushing forward. The problem is Gen Z has a problem with listening, but I don't blame that on Gen Z. I blame that on us. I blame that on us because there's a disconnect that we have with Gen Z that if we didn't have that disconnect, we could have better prepared y'all for what the fuck is going on now. And I feel like there's a lot of people in Gen Z that are just trying to figure out, they know the baseline of everything being fucked up, but they're trying to figure out where to go, because there literally is no world to go to if you're in America. And if the entirety of the world becomes like America, then you will have nowhere to go to. So every time I see someone from Gen Z get red pilled, I'm sad about it, even though I understand how it happened. I think the best thing that could be done is, and it feels so just repetitive. I hate the fact that we're even in the place where I have to say it, but like, learn from our mistakes, because we don't fucking know everything. We don't know everything, and there is beauty in the world, but at a certain point, if this doesn't stop, that beauty is gonna go away. So realistically speaking, I hate the fact that my generation and the generations below me even have to fight this any at all. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. This should have long been taken care of. But it being what it is a ravaging demon that is attached to many generations. So here we are. I believe that as long as Gen Z doesn't get caught up in the hyper individualism that a lot of us ended up getting stuck in, I feel like they'd be all right. Like, keep building in community and sharing information and changing the way that the world receives and perceives things. Like, continue on that work. You know, I've seen a lot of emo kids, like real, like, I'm talking about dressing like how I used to in high school, you know, how a lot of my friends used to in high school, but like not getting bullied the way we did for it. Certain type of acceptance and a willing to stand on, this is what it is, and you just have to get over it. You know, it's seeing a lot of the things that have been planted expand. It's beautiful, you know, and that's what I hope happens and continues to happen and continues to be passed on. Like, I feel like all of us, our whole goal, regardless of whether building our individual families or not, is to make it so that whoever else is coming before doesn't have to deal with it as hard as we did. That whole shit that our parents did, or it's like, well, I had it hard, so you have to have it hard shit. Nah, that should be like every generation thereafter should have an easier time being able to maneuver through existence. So that's how I feel about it.
That's what's up, y'all. So, as I said, that's the last question. Thank you so much, Aerospace, for taking the time to come into this interview. Expect
Appreciate
more awesome interviews like this and more from Ianta's magazine, Column Conscious. I'm Doniven Hill Bush. Have a great rest of your time. Peace.